Gator Dave, welcome in here, sir. Just another night, breaking down another Group of Six conference, talking Sun Belt tonight. How are you doing?
I am well, Mike. Good weekend. Lots of pool time this weekend, man, with the blazing 100-degree temperatures out there. So tried to stay in the pool as much as possible. So looking forward to a little group of six again tonight. We kind of split some things up, done a little bit different. We want to welcome everybody to the show. Man, a week from uh, a week from Thursday, and it's live, baby. It's live. Remind everybody we're Bet Utopia, your number one location for all things sports betting. I'm Gator Dave. That's Miami Mike. Don't forget our live shows on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. and hit our podcast. We'll roll right after that. Spotify, Apple, and your favorite podcast apps and stations. Also, remind everybody to like and subscribe and turn those notifications on. We'd love to hear from you in comments as well. Come by see the podcast or listen to the podcast and give us comments there as well. But like Mike said tonight, we're going to look at the infamous Sun Belt, and we have one of its famous coaches returning. The coach that got named Sun Belt in his prior to his name with his last team, but we'll talk about that in a minute. A couple of things on the Sun Belt wanted to point out. Usually the top couple of coaches leave for Power Four for the big money, man. And the best players also end up leaving for Power Four rosters as well. And things start shuffling around. You never know who's going to be in front, who's going to be in behind, because of the way this conference works. Only 5 of the 14 teams um, in the Sun Belt are ranked in the top 105 nationally in returning production, meaning these folks have lost their teams. All of their production seems to be riding to the Power Four conferences. So, but that's the way the ball bounces. This is the minor leagues, as we've talked about on these uh, on our calls before. That's just the way it rolls. So, Mike, shall we get rolling here, sir?
Let's get it started. We got App State here first.
We're gonna go App State Mountaineers. I got them making a bowl. I've got them at 6-6, Mike. You know, to me, this is one of those teams. You know, the floor and the ceiling could be pretty wide with this team. App State signed the Sun Belt's best recruiting class. Four-star tight end Jamel House leads that haul, and a number of four-star players on the defensive side. But obviously, they're going to be young bucks out there. That's why I think that they've got a chance for that ceiling to be on up there. The offense, they've got Arkansas transfer Malachi Singleton running the show back there, and running back Jakari Lewis from Houston. So they grabbed a couple of bench guys, but Power Four guys that played some, and I think will help them a little bit. But returning production here again, we're going to talk about that a lot. Only 54%. Um, their power number is 113, talent at 81, and strength of schedule at 124. So they got a positive schedule on that end. Thus, the 6-6 for me. So I'm right there with DraftKings. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I got them 6-6 as well, getting to a bowl game. Something of note here: their record in Boone in the last 10 years, Boone, North Carolina, where they play their home games, 50-11, just 29-29 on the road. They got some big ones that they play at home this year. They got James Madison, Old Dominion. They do have to go on the road, out of conference, to East Carolina, NC State. In conference, they got to go to Marshall, South Alabama to wrap it up at the end of the year. So I think there's some talent on this team. I think the head coach is the second year here. He's going to need a little more time bringing in some guys, and trying to hit that portal hard. I'm with you on Malachi Singleton. It'll be interesting to see what he does. I think that kid's got some serious talent, but obviously we got to wait till the ball snapped to really see what we're going to get. But I do have this team making a bowl game and somewhat competing in the Eastern Division here in the Sun Belt.
Awesome, awesome. All right. I do want to welcome my lovely wife, several feet below, giving us the old go dogs. All right. Let's see. I've got Mike. We're going to stick with the A's here, and I've got Arkansas State Red Wolves. Got them coming in at 7-5, Mike. Basically a win short of where they were in the West last year. They returned some skill and talent. This is old Butch Jones in his sixth season. Butch likes to cry a lot, doesn't he? Remember that when he was at Tennessee? So he was an interesting character for sure. There's several coaches in this conference that have some names out there, so to speak. One cool thing about Arkansas State is they return more than anybody in the conference, 74% of their production coming in. They got a power ranking of 95, talent 82, strength of schedule, pretty easy one at 126. So, Mike, I've got them at 7-5. They've got a chance to, I don't think anybody in this conference is going to blow things away. It's kind of the way I feel right now. It could happen. It always seems to, but this team probably, when we call them 7-5, they probably got just as good a chance as anybody to win one of their two divisions that they've got there. But I got them going one over what DraftKings has, Mike.
Yeah, I'm right there with DraftKings again. I got them at 6-6, finding their way to a bowl game. Tough out of conference schedule. They got to go to Memphis, to TCU, but they do get West Georgia at home and Kennesaw State at home to round out that side of things. Got to go to Louisiana, to Coastal Carolina, Troy at home, South Alabama at home. You mentioned Butch Jones as the head coach. He has struggled historically in his coaching career from his days at Central Michigan, Cincinnati, Tennessee, and now here at Arkansas State. He is just 8-22 on the road compared to 16-14 at home. In his career, 64-34 at home, 34-54 on the road. They did bring some production back. They got 10 returning starters, so it'll be interesting to see what they can do from that 7-6 season they had last year. But I do have them regressing just a little bit and hitting that 6-6 mark.
All right. We're pretty close on that one. So next up, we got Coastal Carolina. This team used to be something a couple of years ago. They've kind of fallen off a bit. They got another head coach rolling in. Ryan Beard arrives from Missouri State. He's got a full defensive overhaul to deal with here. 19 portal additions on the defense, including edge players and just about everybody in between. They bring back quarterback Deuce Bailey. He brings over Deuce Bailey from Missouri State. He played in 3 games for Missouri State last year, threw for 335, 59%, 2 TDs. He was definitely not their starter the whole time, but I guess he has confidence in his kid, so he brought him over to Coastal Carolina. Give him some confidence there. They returned 62% of their production, power ranking of 123, talent at 117, and a strength of schedule at 105th. So I do not think they're going to fare that well, thus the 4-8, Mike. What do you think?
I'm going to double down here, Dave. I'm going to go 2-10 for the Chanticleers. Yeah, I just don't think they have the talent this year. Head coach, it'll be interesting to see what he does with this opportunity. He didn't do a whole lot while he was at Missouri State. Even when they were FCS, he was only 12-11, and then they made the transfer to FBS, went 7-5. Like you mentioned, this is his first year here with Coastal Carolina. Projected quarterback, you mentioned Deuce Bailey. They also brought in a guy named Trey Guerra from a JUCO school. Threw for 62%, 24 touchdowns, 14 interceptions there. So when you're bringing in a guy from JUCO, all respect to the JUCO kids, it could be a rough year. So I don't think they have the depth that they're looking for here. Tough schedule as well, at Louisiana, at James Madison, at Marshall, at Delaware, at West Virginia, Liberty at home, Georgia Southern at home, App State at home, Old Dominion at home, Arkansas State at home. I mean, they got a pretty good brutal lay of the land here in terms of the Sun Belt. So I got them going 2-10 and falling way below that DraftKings 5 total.
All righty. Not good. I just marked that one down as another possibility for our little on the side there, my friend. So
Yeah,
all right,
definitely a rebuild year.
when we're way off, way below or way above, I'm marking it down on the calendar there. All right. Next up, we're going to do the Georgia teams. We got Georgia Southern Eagles coming in. Mr. Clay Hilton. I got him at 6-6, Mike. Hilton's in his 5th year, just kind of there. They've been ranked 2nd in defensive production in the nation, returning players. So they got a good defense coming back, but total rebuild on the offensive side of the ball. They've got familiar name at quarterback coming in, Mike. Mr. Journeyman Max Johnson is coming in. He's been around the block a little bit, never really panned much of anywhere, but we got a big name, right? They do return 71% of their production this year. I think it's going to be one of those middle of the road years. I got them one better than DraftKings does, giving them a little bit of that. But power ranking of 106, talent at 72, and strength of schedule at 87. So they got a little bit of a schedule to deal with there. So I'm gonna let them go to a bowl this year. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I'm right there with you again. I got him at 6-6 also. You mentioned Max Johnson coming in from North Carolina. He's had a lot of issues staying on the field, so it'll be interesting to see if he starts the season the same way he ends it on the field. A lot of offensive production that they're going to be losing. J.C. French, the quarterback, as we mentioned earlier in the Big 12 preview show, he transferred to Cincinnati. O.J. Arnold, their 1,000-yard rusher, he's gone. Leading wide receiver, 14 touchdowns, 1,300 yards. Camden Brown on your Cowboys, actually, showing out here in preseason play. But that's going to be a big, big hurdle and a big, big offensive production gap that they're going to need to recover from. I just don't think they're going to be able to do that much with it. I think they may be able to upset a team or two along the way in order to get to a bowl game. But tough schedule, tough slate, as you mentioned, at Clemson, at Jacksonville State, Houston at home, James Madison at home, at Old Dominion, App State, deeper than hate rivalry. They get them at home off a bye. Marshall at home as well, at Troy. So it's going to be an uphill battle for this squad in Clay Helton's 5th year here down in Statesboro for Georgia Southern.
All right. Let's get it to another home team, Mike, the Georgia State Panthers. So right down the road, right next door to our friends there at Georgia Tech. Going to be another rough year for the Panthers, Mike, playing in the old Braves Stadium down there. Dell McGee's the head coach. His 2 years he's been there, he is 4-20, Mike. Can you say hot seat? So, because all I got him is winning 2, so 6-30 ain't getting him anywhere very fast. So, I don't think it's going to be a very good year for the Panthers. The defense finished almost totally last in the nation. They do have the quarterback, Cameron Brown, returns last year. He was 65%. 1,300 yards, 13 TDs, and an interception. So respectable. They returned 58% of the productivity from last year. Their power ranking is an ugly 129, talent at 91, and strength of schedule at 106. I don't think they're going to make that for the DraftKings has them at, Miguel. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you. I got him at 3-9, going below that DraftKings total of 4. Quite the quarterback carousel for them last year. 3 guys got a lot of PT. 127 attempts for TJ Finley, 128 for Cameron Brown, as you mentioned. Then he got hurt towards the end of the year for the last 2 games. But yeah, I think this coach is probably on his way out. Del McGee, unfortunately, like you mentioned, 4-20 in his 2 years there. That is just not going to get it done. For a school that did not have anything less than 4 wins for the last 6 or 7 years before he got there, they're going to want to turn these expectations around pretty quickly, I believe, here at Georgia State, especially being where it is in Atlanta. They want to compete. I just don't think it's going to be this year. So I'm with you. I got Georgia State going below that DraftKings total of 4.
Agreed. All right. So my stomach's a little upset, Mike. I'm not feeling really good right now as we
Oh,
move
wow.
into the next team, Mike.
TMI, Dave. TMI.
I don't know if it's heartburn or what, man, but
It's
we got
PTSD. That's
James.
what it is.
There it is. That's it. That's it, Mike. So yeah, here we go. Sunbelt Billy is back. James Madison, Sling Blade. So Bob Chesney had James Madison last year. Went to UCLA. Everybody's fired up about having him at UCLA, and Billy runs back to the Sun Belt. I mean, they got him quick, man. And unfortunately, I think he's got the best roster and the best chances out there to do well. And he's in his element. I mean, he's a minor league coach. And I've got him going 9-3, Mike. It's probably going to be 8-4, but I think it could be 9-3. DraftKings has him at 9. He's inheriting the reigning conference champions. 9-0 in league play last year, and they've only lost 7 conference games between 2022 and 2025. And what's interesting about this conference I didn't talk about earlier is it's the last one that has 2 divisions. And when you made me throw up the numbers on the 2 different divisions, this division is actually the better teams are in this particular division when I looked at what I had them ranked anyway. But when I look at what's going on there on the team, we've got the quarterback from UCF, Alonzo Barnett, who's coming in to run the show. They retain only 40% of their snap production. 2 standout players on the defense, defensive back Terrence Jones at quarterback and Amir Thomas are big standouts on the defensive side of the ball. They grabbed a wide receiver stud Jeremiah Harrison out of East Tennessee. They got a 4-star wide receiver Xavier McDonald. Strength of schedule 121, which makes it pretty easy for them. Thus the 9-3. Power ranking is 68. Talent at 84. I hate it, but I think they've got a really good chance of going to the conference finals here. And hell, God forbid they make it to the playoff. I'm counting on our other reject to do that. So, Dan the man. So we'll see. What do you think?
Yeah, I got James Madison at 8-4. I do think Billy Napier will strike again, and he's going to lose a game or 2 that they have no business losing. You mentioned all the offensive production that they lost. 1,300-yard rusher Wayne Knight is gone. Their top 4 or 5 receivers gone. Top 3 tacklers on defense gone. Alonzo Barnett gone. Um, this is a program too with James Madison. You know, it's one of those situations. It has high expectations. They have been very dominant over the last 10 years. Obviously, they were FCS until 2022, but over the last 10 years, 110 wins to just 22 losses. When playing at home, 65-5. When on the road, 43-14. And since joining the FBS in 2022, they are 40-11. The expectation is to win and win quickly here at James Madison, and I don't know how Billy Napier is going to do with those expectations. So I do have them competing, obviously making a bowl game, but I do think that they are going to lose a few games at the beginning, towards the beginning of the season, before he gets them to totally buy in into the BS that he's selling. And I got them at 8-4.
I hope so. All right. I hope it's 7-5, 6-6, but we'll see. All right. No hard
Never
feelings,
know.
Billy Bob. No
Never
hard
know.
feelings at all. All right. Just ruined our program. But all right. Next up, Billy's old team. Louisiana Raging Cajuns. I got them competing for sure. I got them at 8-4. Coach has been there 5 seasons. You know, he's the same guy that took over for Billy. Billy left. Um, Quarterback. Love this guy's name. Lunch. Lunch Winfield. He's the quarterback for the Raging Cajuns. 1,555 yards. He only threw it 54%, 11 TDs, 7 interceptions. However, he's one of them running quarterbacks. 667 on the ground and 9 TDs. These guys didn't do that great in the portal. It was a little lower than what they've grabbed in the past. So I think that it's going to hold them back a little bit. Their productivity, 59% returning. Their power rankings 107, talent at 105, strength of schedule at 135, which helps them. So I think they'll be in the mix in the end. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, they can take care of Sling Blade and rides above, but we'll see. I got them at 8-4, Mike. One above DraftKings.
Yeah, I got them at 9-3. I got them 2 games above the DraftKings total of 7. Main reason being the schedule. I think it's a fairly favorable schedule. You look at their non-conference schedule specifically. They play Lamar, UAB, and Charlotte. They do have to go to the USC Trojans, but that rounds out their 4 non-conference games. And then you look at who they got during the conference: at Louisiana Tech, at Southern Miss, Louisiana Monroe, Coastal Carolina, Georgia State, just to name a few. I think that's very favorable for this coach DeSormo here in his 5th year. 16-9 at home, just 12-12 on the road. But you mentioned Lunch Winfield coming back for his junior year. I think he's going to be able to take that next step, not only as a runner, but mainly as a passer. He had a little bit of issue with turning the ball over in terms of interceptions last year. So I look for him to correct that this year and get this Louisiana Raging Cajun team into the Sun Belt Championship, representing that West Divisional side.
All righty then. We shall see. All right, let's get the final Louisiana team in there. No, we don't. We still got Louisiana Tech. UL Monroe Warhawks coming in. Mike, I've got the Warhawks at 3-9. Aiden Armenta returns at quarterback. He played in 11 games last year, threw for 58%, 1,600 yards, 12 TDs, and 8 interceptions. They are bringing in a new offensive coordinator. His name's Jesse Montalto. He's the new OC coming in, and they're going to run the spread and RPO offense. So we'll see how this kid does in terms of absorbing, grabbing, and understanding the expectation there on the offensive side of the ball. They got a new DC too, Tim Redford. He's going to be running a 3.35. We got a lot of unproven talent up front on this team. Very, very green in the front seven, which is a concern. And one of the lowest returning productivity on of all the teams at 50%. So I think it's going to be a little rough. They're going back to the drawing board. Obviously, when you see the turn of a couple of coordinators, it is. Power ranking is 130 out of 140. Talent 133 out of 140. Strength of schedule at 115. Going to be a rough year for them Warhawks. I'm going one under our friends there at DraftKings at 3-9.
Yeah, I'm gonna go two under. I'm gonna go 2-10 for this Louisiana Monroe team. They do have a running back named Don Chaney that I am partial to. Former Miami running back in the day. He had some injury issues. He's bounced around a little bit since then, but I hope he can stay on the field and have a good year. He did not play at all last year when he was at Charlotte. I just don't think the team has depth that they need to in order to compete in this conference or even on a national level. You look at this team and what they've done over the last 10 years, specifically on the road as well. Just 10 wins and 54 losses compared to 27 and 27 at home. So this is one of those situations, too, when we were getting going into the season and we start handicapping some games. If you're looking at this team at all, it's going to be when they're playing at home, because when they are playing on the road, they are not it. Follow the numbers. It's kind of a tough slate, too, when you talk about some of the games they got to go to on the road: at Mississippi State, at South Alabama, at Troy, at Arkansas State, at App State, not to mention their home schedule: Marshall, Louisiana, who we just talked about, Florida Atlantic for their out-of-conference. So it'll be very, very interesting in terms of what they are able to do. But, yeah, I think it's going to be another rebuild year here for the Warhawks.
I truly believe that. All right. Next up, we'll talk a little bit about the Marshall Thundering Herd.
Oh,
so the quarterback.
You're just, there's no respect for this Louisiana team, Dave. You did it a second ago. You said we got the last one.
I did.
Look
I'm
at
sorry.
you. You're just trying to. A little bit of foreshadowing. I think,
here. They're hexed, man. I hexed them. All right, Louisiana Tech Bulldogs, guys. I have them actually at a respectable 7-5. These guys came over from Conference USA with a winning record. But the big question is, can they handle a step up? I mean, granted, it is a group of 6, but Sun Belt's a little bit tougher than Conference USA, so we'll see how it goes. Quarterback Blake Baker, he played in 8 games last year for the Bulldogs. 12, 51, 66%, 5 TDs, 3 interceptions, rushed for 260 and 3 scores. Respectable quarterback there. They do return 63% of the productivity. Power ranking is 98. Talent is only at 122. Strength of schedule 95, which is a little bit tougher. So I think they'll be in the mix. Again, any team that's 7-5 or better in this conference that we've rated, to me, is going to be in the mix, because we talked about how the cards shuffle every single year, so you can see what sticks up against the wall. So I got them at 7-5, which is one better than what DraftKings says. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, Blake Baker last year, he actually got him off to a pretty good start. He's a big body, 6'5", 220. He started off 4-1, and then he just could not get healthy. He played injured for a few games, got knocked out, ended up getting knocked out of the Delaware game for the rest of the year, and then they sort of just kind of struggled from there on out. For me, it's going to be the schedule. I mean, the first 4 out of their 5 games, at LSU, at Baylor, Army at home, and then Louisiana at home, I don't know if he's going to be able to make it through it. I mean, they're going to put a lot on this kid's shoulders, I think, to lead this offense. And based off his past injuries, I hope he can. He once he gets going, he's actually a very formidable quarterback. Like you mentioned, he can also get it done on the ground. but I just really don't think there's that much around him in order to really make anything happen. Starting projected running back Jaden Miller, they got him from an NAIA school. Uh, uh, I think they're going to struggle in their first year in the Sun Belt. I got them at 5-7, just below that 6-win mark. I just think it's going to be too much of an uphill battle. If they're able to find a way to beat Louisiana, maybe in that first stretch, maybe upset a South Alabama or a Troy on the road. They got Georgia Southern on the road as well to round out the end of the year for their last game. If they can find a way to get one or two of those, they might be able to get up over that 6-win mark, but I think it's going to be tough for them. I look for them to bounce back next year. I think Sonny Cumbie is a decent coach. I think he's a good fit for this Louisiana Tech team. I think they just need a little bit more time to kind of get ready for what you mentioned in terms of an upgrade going to this Sun Belt Conference from where they were with the CUSA.
All righty then. Now we go to the Marshall Thunder and Herd. So,
There you go.
so I want to talk. I want to talk about this quarterback because it's kind of an interesting, good story about this guy, Carlos Del Rio Wilson. He's actually, when you look at the info, one of the more accomplished quarterbacks in G6. Last year, 67%, 2,000 yards, 17 TDs, and only 5 interceptions. He ran for 657 and 6 TDs. So, Mike, I don't know if you remember the original story about this kid because it goes back even further than where I'm going to start. But he originally started playing for the Florida Gators. He redshirted in 2021, and he didn't play. And then he went up and he played with Syracuse for 3 years, 664 yards, 4 TDs during that time. So nothing ever happened there. And then of course he came back last year and had a great year for Marshall. But another fun fact, the kid went to high school right down the road here at McEachin High School in Powder Springs, Georgia. Not too far from us here, Mike. So that's another interesting fun fact about Carlos Del Rio. So Marshall, rebuilt O-line. Oh, Carlos better be running. Or they better get their crap together real fast. They got to play Penn State in the very first game, so they're going to be licking some wounds, and but they'll be running away with some change there from that particular game, right? But probably bruised up. Hopefully, Del Rio can make it through that one. That O line can at least keep him upright. Their power ranking is 88th, talent at 100, strength of schedule 129. Again, I got them at 8-4, one above DraftKings. I think they could be in the mix there at the end because these guys' schedule's a little bit easier than some of the others. So I think it's possible. Again, anybody 7 or 5 or better can be in the mix in this league. So we'll see. What do you got, Mike?
Gator Dave, I got this team going double digits. You mentioned Carlos Del Rio Wilson, senior quarterback. I think they're going to put a lot on this kid's shoulders. I think he's going to be able to lead this Marshall squad. You look at who they brought back, 9 returning starters, 6 on the offensive side of the ball. Number 2 experience-wise in the entire conference. They have a pretty easy going schedule after that first game. They do have to go up to Happy Valley and play Matt Campbell and all those Iowa State guys up there with Penn State week 1. But after that, Middle Tennessee State, Missouri State, Gardner-Webb, Coastal, Georgia State, ULM. Really the toughest games they got on their schedule. They got to go to James Madison, who you love, that head coach. South Alabama, they get at home off a bye. They do have to go to Georgia Southern, App State at home. But outside of that, I really don't see them struggling too much in this conference. Maybe losing one against an Old Dominion squad at Old Dominion. But outside of that week 1 game against Penn State, I really think that this team has a really good shot to not only get into their conference championship game, but potentially sneak into that top 25 at the end of the year that we'll be talking this upcoming Wednesday night. I think they got enough depth. You look at who they've brought back. also along going with Del Rio Wilson, he's got some guys that he's familiar with. Three of their top receivers are coming back as well. My biggest thing with this team is going to be the running back position. Del Rio Wilson was their leading rusher last year. Not always a plus
Right.
when your quarterback is doing it all. So it'll be interesting if they can sort of fill that hole. I think that they'll be able to. They got a guy coming in named Joshawn Barbie, who's a senior, averaged 4 yards a carry last year. I think they'll have enough to get it done. I like what they got on the defensive side of the ball as well. I like the head coach a lot as well. Tony Gibson comes in, former DB back in his playing days. This is his second year here. I think he's going to have this Marshall Thunder and Herd team rolling. I think he's going to have the depth that he needs to in the schedule that's a little bit favorable. So I do have them going 10-2 and representing the eastern side of the Sun Belt to play those Raging Cajuns in that championship game.
All righty. So we got the over on Marshall there, buddy. So, all right. Note made and taken. All right. Next up, Old Dominion Monarchs. Another one of those teams, 7-5 or better, who have a chance. I've got them at 8-4. 10 wins last season for the first time in nearly a decade. They return. However, the problem is
There you go.
league low, 46% of the productivity from last year. That's a lot to replace.
That's a lot.
Quarterbacks, Jackson Potter, Harry's cousin, transferred from Washington State, where he was a starter for the first 3 games last year. Then he got the bench, didn't play anymore. For those 3 games, he was 70%, 604 yards, 4 TDs, and 3 interceptions. So, not too shabby now that he's at Old Dominion, right? The power ranking for Old Dominion is 77, talent at 128, strength of schedule 113, not too bad. So again, they can be in the mix, but I got them at 8-4, about right there with DraftKings.
Yeah, I got them at 6-6. I got them making a bowl game, but I think that's going to just be too much production that they're going to have to make up for. I think they're 1 year away from getting back into that Sun Belt Conference race legitimately. But, if they could find a way to sneak one against James Madison at home, they got an out-of-conference game against East Carolina at Virginia Tech. They've upset them a few times in the years past. James Franklin's taken over the head coaching role there, so we'll see if he's able to turn them around and get them going. But, at App State, at Louisiana Tech, at Coastal, at UConn as well for another out-of-conference game towards the end of the year. Something to note here, too, this team has to play 10 straight games before they get their bye week. Their first bye week is November 14th. First week is September 5th. That's a lot to ask from a team that lost that much depth and that much production. I like the head coach, Ricky Ron. I think he's going to be able to get this team rolling once again. I just don't know about this year. I do think they'll find a way to get back to a bowl game, but man, in terms of competing in this conference and kind of getting up above some of these teams that we've mentioned, like a James Madison, a Marshall, especially in that division, I think it's going to be tough this year for them. So I got them at 6-6, below that DraftKings 8-win mark.
All righty. Let's head over to Bammer. We got South Alabama Jaguars. Mike, I got this team at 5-7. We got another big name here, a recognizable name as a coach. We got ex-Texas Longhorn quarterback Major Applewhite. He's in his 3rd season there at South Alabama. He's going to have some work to do. Jags went from 7 wins to 4 wins, and things aren't looking that great this year. I think, I only got them going up 1, which is less than DraftKings. I got them at 6. They got senior quarterback Bishop Davenport, who threw for 2,000 yards, 68%, 12 TDs, and 6 interceptions. He rushed for 325 and 9 TDs. Pretty respectable for this league. Running back Keenan Phillips is back, 600 yards, 4.8 a carry, and 3 TDs. That should help them. They returned 66% of their productivity. Their power ranking is 119, talent at 108, strength of schedule not too bad, 119. But I don't think they're going to have enough to make it happen. We've seen the regression in where Mr. Applewhite has gone, and I think they'll give it a bump, but I don't think it's going to be enough. So I've got them at 5-7, Mike.
Plug your nose, Dave. I got them at 8-4. I got them going 2 games above that 6-win DraftKings mark. I think Major Applewhite is going to be able to turn it around this year because, like you mentioned, if he doesn't, this might be all she wrote for him. You look at Bishop Davenport, the quarterback, coming back for his senior year, dual threat guy, 12 touchdowns, 6 interceptions last year on nearly 70% completion. I think he's going to take that next step to kind of be a little bit more of a guy, get above that 20 touchdown mark, passing on the ground. Also, you mentioned he's formidable, 9 touchdowns there. So the biggest thing for me is it's sort of the schedule again. You know, they do have a little bit of a tougher slate non-conference. They got to go to Tulane, to Kentucky. They get Ohio at home. But outside of that, they have a lot of games at home that I believe that they can win. It's when they go on the road, that's when it starts to get a little sketchy. 17-41 on the road over the last 10 seasons. Like I mentioned, Tulane, Kentucky on the road, at Arkansas State for a Thursday night game, at Marshall for a Tuesday night game, and then at Louisiana as well. They are able to get Troy at home, App State to round out the season at home also. I think they find a way to probably split those and find their way to definitely get to a bowl game. But I do have them competing at 8-4 and actually finishing third in that Western side, right there, 1 game below Louisiana for that Western Division title.
Wow.
I know it.
Applewhite going to make it happen. He's going to give us some of his Texas magic. We shall see. All right. Next up, we're going to go to Southern Mississippi, the Golden Eagles. Charlie Huff, last year's coach, departed for my Memphis Tigers. And he took a chunk of the roster with him, Mike. He took 17 players and 4 coaches. Ouchie, you know? And it's funny how we talked about that guy and how much I liked him last year and how he ends up at my alma mater there, coaching Memphis. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to have the enough, but we'll see. I'm anxious to see, what he does. I mean, I like the guy. So Southern Miss, Blake Anderson's now the coach. Last year he was the OC under Charlie, and it's one of those deals where the coach leaves and they promote somebody, kind of like Ole Miss did, right? But they're promoting the OC in this particular situation. Let's see. He was prior to being the OC, he was a head coach, actually, Utah State and at Arkansas State. So the guy's got head coaching experience. It's not like he's just some Joe Blow off the street. So he's kind of one of those revitalized coaches. Ethan Hampton takes over at quarterback. He's transferred from Illinois. He played as a backup last year. Didn't do much anything prior to that. He was at Northern Illinois and was actually a starter there. So this guy's got some experience. But I think they're kind of taping things together in that first year. 46% of their productivity's back. Their power ranking is 122 out of 140. Talent at 116. And strength of schedule at 101, which makes it a little tough. Thus, me thinking 3-9. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit further than you again. I'm gonna go 2-10 for this Southern Miss squad. And their 4 non-conference games, they start them off at the beginning of the year like most teams at home, they get Alcorn State. They got to go to Auburn. They get UConn at home, and they got to go to Tulane. I think they win that Alcorn State game, and I think they find a way to win that Connecticut game at home. After that, I don't think they win a single game in conference. I think it's going to get extremely rough at Troy, Arkansas State, Louisiana, James Madison, South Alabama, Old Dominion, just to name a few. I just don't think that they have the depth that they need. You mentioned all the guys that they lost. They have one returning starter this year. They are the least experienced team in the entire Sun Belt, and one of, if not the most, or if not the least experienced team in the entire nation. I just don't think they have the depth that they need to really compete at a serious level in this conference. So I do have them taking a huge step back and going 2-10 this year.
When a coach takes 25% of the team,
it doesn't help.
And the coach
it doesn't help.
It's a bitch.
It doesn't help.
All right, let's wrap things up here, Mike, with the Troy Trojans. Somebody's got to be in the middle here, and that's where I got the Troy Trojans, Mike. I got 6-6. Last year they were runner-up, but the O-line last year surrendered 59 sacks, Mike. That was number 1 in FBS. How'd you like to be that quarterback? And by the way, they're still battling to see who's going to get beat up. We don't know quite yet who that quarterback is going to be. They return only 48%, not much better than Southern Miss, which is concerning. Their power ranking is only 120, talent at 120, and strength of schedule at 120, which is better than Southern Miss. So thus a couple more wins. I got them at 6-6, Mike. Not even at that 7-win DraftKings total.
Yeah, again, hold your nose here. I got Troy at 8-4, and I'm gonna make a prediction here at quarterback. I think they're gonna go with one of the best names in college football, Mr. Goose Crowder. I think he's gonna end up winning that quarterback competition down there. I like the coach a lot, Gerard Parker. I think he's gonna be able to get something done here in his third year. Each year he's sort of progressed. First year there he was 4-8, following a stint of that 12-2 in 2022, 11-3 in 2023. Took a huge step back his first year at 4-8 in 2024, but last year was able to get back to 8-6. I think they do something similar like that this year and get to 8-4. I think they have enough. You mentioned the offensive line and how bad they were last year. They brought in some guys for some depth there. I think that they'll be able to take a step up in that department, in that room, and that's really going to be the biggest difference here for this team. You look at the schedule, very, very formidable in terms of non-conference. Sam Houston at home, Alabama State. They got to go to Missouri. They got to go to Utah State. But after that, Southern Miss at home, Louisiana Monroe at home, Louisiana Tech at home. They get Southern. I think that they were able to split those in terms of their conference games and find a way to win some that maybe they shouldn't. They have a good consistency of playing well when they're sort of disregarded as underdogs. So something to note, also kind of put in the back of your brain when it comes to when we start handicapping some games. When they're a home dog over the last 10 years, when they are a away dog over the last 10 years, they're 25-13 against the spread. So that's something to watch, especially in some of these games. They got to go to Louisiana, to James Madison, to South Alabama, and to Arkansas State to wrap it up at the end of the year. So those might be some that we're going to be looking at throughout the year as some of because some of those games might get up into the double digits in terms of being a dog. So that's something to, again, kind of put into the back burner and store for later on here in the year. But I do have Troy going 8-4, getting over that 7-win mark and finishing second in the western side of things, right below our Louisiana Raging Cajuns.
All righty. Well, Mike, that's a wrap on the Fun Belt, man. So you want to kind of throw up where we are in terms of the different divisions? that we've got there. This one is, of course, the most complicated now that it's got two groups, but
Yeah,
we
I feel
shall
like that's
see.
on its way out. I feel like sooner or later
It's
we're
got to
gonna,
be.
we're gonna get away from this final division side of things. But you look over here, we got the western side here going on. I'm on here on the left. Dave is on the right. Kind of how we finish it out. Dave actually has Arkansas State taking that western side, even though they are the 7-5, because of the conference play and how that works out between the teams. So he's got them actually sneaking in there to represent that western side. And then you break down the east here. Like I mentioned, I got Marshall on my side, and he's got his favorite, Mr. Sunbelt Billy, leading those James Madison Dukes back to the conference title game at 9-3. I know. I know.
Mm, mm,
I know it hurts your
Well,
heart.
it does. It does. Because, he's slick, man. He's slick. He sold us down the river, man. I can't say enough bad stuff about that
Hey,
guy, man. All right.
he's your Al Golden. It's all right. We all have one. Florida State
There
still
you
got
go.
theirs, and Mike Norvell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody's got to have the used car salesman once in a while to sort of bring us all back down to earth a little bit. Can't
My
enjoy the success without a couple rough years. So it is what it
goodness.
is in college football.
It is. It is. We want to thank everybody for being on tonight. Appreciate everybody in listening. And those of you who haven't listened yet, you will be soon and watching the show and or tuning into the podcast. We appreciate everybody being on. We'll try to drop the next one sometime next day or two. We'll get around to that MAC. To the Big Mac conference. We'll knock that out. And then don't forget, Wednesdays we'll be live with our top 25 and who's going to the playoffs and Heisman winners, all that kind of cool stuff will be live. Back on track for our Wednesday night show. So looking forward to it. And then, man, only a week to go and we're rolling. So
Crazy. We're
it's
almost
gonna be
there.
fun.
We're
It's
almost there.
gonna
Two
be
shows
fun.
away from week 0, Dave. Can't believe it. We're almost there.
That's it. That's it. All right, Mike. Good seeing you. Thanks for everybody being on. Listening up.